Yes, I believe it has started.
Okay.
So, shall I start away, or there's something we need to discuss prior to what I have to present?
No, I think please go ahead now. I think it's it's lovely to welcome everybody and to welcome you. So it's over to you now. Like I say, out of your comfort zone, but we're really looking forward to hearing about your views on how this year is going to progress.
Sure. So, okay, I'll just share my screen with you. So we have 2022. We have entered the year. Let's see how things are going to show up. So on the left, we have a normal North Indian square chart, which we use. And on the right, as you can see, we have a circular chart. And the charts which I am going to consider, all the charts are Aries rising. Why I am considering the Aries rising? Because it's the primordial chart. It's what we call as a Kala Purusha chart, the primordial, the cosmic human chart, starting with the Aries ascendant, because it makes it very easier for things to assess once we have this chart. So we have this, I'll start with the Hindu year, which is starting on 1st of April, 2022, Saturday at 11:54 hours, New Delhi. So this will, so basically the theme here is that every year we have a different king assigned to an year and a minister assigned to an year. So there is a planet which is assigned as a king. Like this year, we have Saturn as the king. Why? It's quite simple, because we have the year starting on the day Saturday. So as you can see, we are here on the 1st of April. It is Saturday. So we have Saturday as the ruling as the king for this entire year. And we have Jupiter as the minister. Now, Jupiter comes by the Aries Ingress. So the theme here is based again, because it is the Saturn has a huge prominency here. So it is the king. Now, I'm sure planets, according to you, must be in different sign, because this is the sidereal chart, what I am presenting. And the main theme for Saturn is again still Capricorn, because although it is at 27 degrees, it's going to move ahead this year to Aquarius. But once it goes retrograde, somewhere around in the month of June or July, it will be moving back again to Capricorn. So basically, even the theme would be a Capricorn theme. So the year is since it is Saturn, it is the year of struggle and hardship for common man. So achievements by common man may only be after a lot of struggle and hardships. This also shows use of excessive forces by government, especially because we have the 10th house. If we consider the governments, not just in India and otherwise, but considering especially India, because this is the Hindu year, it shows use of excessive force by governments, especially in India, to maintain law and order. A general year of declaration of new financial achievements and ties with influential countries, or new pacts with existing friendly nations. Why such a case? Because we have in the 11th house, the house of gains, we have Jupiter and Venus. We have two benefic planets there already. So it's a mix of everything here this year. So one may also see many foreign nations or dignitaries, VIPs visiting India, or at least praising the present government in their favor. That is one thing. Border tension for many countries with adjoining countries. So basically border tensions for countries. Military action from sea to land. So some sea to land disturbances again going to be there. If anybody thinks why sea to land, I'll just explain it again, because this is going to This is kind of repeating in many charts again and again. So no change for major ruling governments, even if there are elections. Public distress by police action and upper hand of the government will be there still. Heavy rains and flooding in coastal areas. We may see feminine power. We may see feminine power rising this year in most of the creative fields. More success for women rather than men this year. So if there is a woman who's working, it will be her career will be more on pace, more successful rather than men. That is what the theme here is. Why? It's a very one simple thing. I'm just hinting you but see, I have been using various techniques. It would become too elaborate if I go into the intricacies, because I have used lunar mansions. I have used an ancient technique called Sarvato Bhadra Chakra, the SBC chart. It gives totally different details of how things are going to reveal. But in short, we have Venus in the natural 11th house. So that's the reason of, that's one of the reason why it will be, we may see the feminine power rising and everything. Now I'll move to the second chart. Now we have the Aries Ingress chart. This is applicable not just to India. This is going to be applicable everywhere. So we have the Aries Ingress on 14th April 2022, Thursday. As I just mentioned, the minister for the year is Jupiter. So for Thursday being ruled by Jupiter, we have the minister, which is Jupiter. So now what special here is that Sun has just entered the Aries at 0 degrees, which is the Aries Ingress. But speciality here is that we have Mercury conjunct the North Node Rahu. We have Mercury conjunct the North Node Rahu and definitely Uranus. But since my specifics will remain only to up till Saturn, not beyond that, not about Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Although our ancient sages were well aware of the planets, they called it Arun, Varun, and Yam. But we are not using it for the predictive purpose because of two reasons. First of all, the duration taken by these planets in one zodiac sign is quite extensive, and these planets are usually not around, not for the entire year. They are not naked. They are not naked eye visible planets. So the sages were preferring planets which were naked eye visible year round, the entire year. So Sun ingress, because this ingress is happening for the Sun conjunct Mercury and the North Node Rahu, which shows more involvement and influence of digital communications worldwide, but also a lot. But it will also show an enhancement or increase in the state of confusion as well. Specifically in regards to communication, there will be there may be disruption of communication, or the communication may not be as smooth as it should be, or somebody is saying something and the one hearing the thing is contemplating it as something other. So miscommunication will be as well because of the North Node Rahu. So confusion. Okay, now confusions among medical fraternity, because we have Rahu, especially in the constellation of Kritika. So I'm sure at least a few of you must be aware about the lunar mansion. So we have Rahu in the lunar mansion of Kritika. So that will create a lot of confusion among medical fraternity. We may see it during the year. Since since I have taken this chart as Aries rising, again the primordial chart, but during the time of Sun Aries ingress, the rising zodiac sign is Taurus. That is the thing. So since the ascendant lord is Venus, so definitely some hardships and confusion among women from working class, especially for women who are working from home. and housewives. So there will be a lot of confusion. There may be some struggle and hardship is indicated by this chart. Why? Because we have Venus conjunct Mars as well, just bordered by bordered by Saturn, which is almost 29 degrees, very close to, transit into Aquarius. The natural Aries chart, now we have the natural Aries chart in Rahu Ketu axis. So basically we have the Rahu Ketu axis, which is a 1-7 axis. This shows disturbances among couples a lot. So consultants will hear a lot of troubled relationship this coming year, because it is a 1-7 axis, and we know that the 1-7 axis is definitely all about relationship. And since Moon is trine to Sun, we have Moon trine to Sun, especially in the constellation of Purva Falguni. We have PH, which is a Purva Falguni constellation. This shows an year full of scandals regarding revelations of illicit relationship of dignitaries or high-profile officials, which would be a common news often over the year, not limited to one single person. So a lot of scandals are going to surface up. This is one thing about the Ingress chart. So now let me move down to a general thing. Now this all is happening in the month of April, but now I will start take you back from the start of this year itself. Now there is something very special about the 1st March 2022 conjunction of planets. Now all these conjunctions are worked upon specifically by, first of all, by looking at the conjunctions. We have, as you can see, we have Moon, Saturn, Mercury, Pluto, Mars, Venus, all together hemmed in Capricorn sign on the 1st of March. So it makes it quite special. But we have another concept which is called SBC chart. Now SBC chart gives us different details altogether. And using that chart, I found these dates, the charts which I'm presenting you, to be a little more interesting. So what we can predict initially is that the theme is Capricorn, since we know that Sun is a harsh planet, and definitely in the 10th where we have the high noon. But presently we have Saturn as Sun in the Capricorn, the 10th natural MC. But now we have Saturn as an estranged ruler who has the power and the authority to judge everyone. Hence, more struggles at economic front for nations and an individual at professional front. Now, Saturn's constellation, Shravana, has a lot to do with travel. So some travel restrictions presently, as we can see, again, there are travel restrictions as of now. Because Saturn is still in the Shravan Lunar Mansion. As of now, we are discussing this. And Saturn, blindfoldedness, so being blindfolded and hearing something, but making it out entirely different. So this is going to be a very common theme because of this thing. Why we are taking, as I've mentioned previously, we are taking the theme as Capricorn or Capri theme because the retrograde Saturn will be again in Capricorn somewhere around the month of September this year again. Now, somewhere around January 31st, we have Saturn, Sun, Moon, Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, in the 10th house, in specific lunar mansions. So it is possible that a dethroning of a king or a government may take place. Now, you may say that this is a very wide prediction. How it works in Vedic astrology is that every nation has their own individual horoscope. Now, according to the capital city of that nation, we have to work upon independent charts. So that makes a whole lot of charts, which was not possible for me to do for every individual country. So it's kind of hard to predict, but yes, if somebody is interested in their own country, I can definitely work with them over that chart and maybe, kind of give my own perspective over how things may unfold this year for that specific country. So, dethroning of a king or a government. Venus and Mars is in Sagittarius on the 31st of January, we are talking about. So, possibility of a small war between big and a small nation. And, this is something which I wrote down earlier before I actually checked upon international news, because the pandemic is, we kind of had a breakout of the Omicron thing, and it's kind of keeping me very busy with the house chores, everything. I'm helping with my wife and everything. So I wrote down this, but later, after doing this homework, I kind of checked on the net what is actually happening around the world, which I was not able to capture. I wrote down specifically Ma and Kha, as you can see here. Ma and Kha syllables are important here. Now, what does these syllables mean? That any person by these names, or any city or any country by these names, may have trouble. So I kind of just checked the news, and I was astonished how beautifully the SBC system works. That we have Kazakhstan in some border related tensions as of now. That is something I came across. Effects may get pronounced by the end of February. So whatever is happening as of now in the January, it may get pronounced by February. It is just a kind of a trailer that we are viewing. By February end, events related to water to land related troubles like earthquakes, tsunami, flooding, anything related to that. Especially coastal areas are of consideration. And just like 2 days back, maybe a day back, I came across that there has been some volcanic eruption at somewhere near a coastal area. If I'm not so sure about it, but I guess I kind of read that. Why we are considering again water to land? It is very simple if we go to the Vedic culture. The thing is, we have a Capricorn theme, and Capricorn is a sign which is half reptilian and half creature. So we have the lower part of the body is of a crocodile, and the upper part of the body is of a deer. So since a crocodile is an aquatic creature and deer is a creature of land, so something related to water to land, or specifically coastal areas. The basic essence is sometimes very simple in the roots of the zodiac sign itself. So AH, AI, and RI syllables are of importance here when we are talking about the any land-related issues. I'm not so sure where did this volcanic eruption has taken place, but maybe it may be related to these syllables. I'm not so sure of it. So reassuring boundaries or setting boundaries, setting new boundaries to someone will play important role. Specifically, we are talking about this in regards to a country or a nation or maybe a city. Accidental killings by authority may be on rise. Repercussions of all above may be felt up till the end of March. Now, come February and March, since we have this conjunction on the 1st of March, so since Jupiter and Saturn would be near to the Sun, so public distress and agitations resulting in protests against government may be seen in many countries. If something is already brewing up in any of the nations, you may assume that in just coming 1 month or so, it will definitely take a huge pace. Use of excessive force by government to imply a policy or law which would later be criticized and not accepted by public, resulting in protest. This may be seen in many countries as 1st March conjunction is an exception this year. Possibility of marine, sea, or water to land related events to which whole world may be an audience. Now, why we have I believe the Capricorn thing has cleared up the water to land thing, and since we have this conjunction of Mars, and again we have we consider the north node to be aspecting this conjunction as well. So it all together, it makes it very explosive situation. This situation together in itself is a very explosive situation. It's like something steamed up and about to be blown away kind of a situation. So saying that, so this is the general theme that we were talking about. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 more charts to go. I hope. Okay, we are running quite fine on the time. Please let me know if anytime I need to stop. Just let me know about that. So, okay, now I will take up the major eclipses. So we have a solar eclipse on 1st of May 2022, 1:58 in the morning, 1:58 hours, New Delhi. That is what I'm considering since I am in New Delhi. So that becomes relevant to me. So as you can see that we have again the conjunction here with the north node. The Saturn-Mars conjunction in Aquarius, and Pluto is retrograde, would be definitely, this Pluto would be definitely of importance to a lot of people here if it is retrograde. But we have a good conjunction here. We have an exalted Venus and we have a Jupiter conjunction in its own sign. So some protection here as well. So there are some extensive results here with this specific eclipse. So usually the eclipse gives, so result of an eclipse is to be seen 45 days prior and later to the day of eclipse. So these events may spread across the mentioned duration. So 45 days before and after all that fit. So air-related events like a plane crash or a missile attack or any air-related event is on the highlight. We have the Mars and Saturn conjunction in an Aries sign. So definitely some air-related event here because this situation is quite explosive here with the South Node aspecting this as well. Fire events around coastal areas or islands, threat to senior dignitary. This also shows some threat to a senior dignitary. Possibility of sexual allegations on the dignitary. Breaking of boundaries or creating new boundaries, especially talking about border tense countries. If there are any countries prior to this, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, or maybe few years, if there are countries which are already having some border tensions, like India is already having border tensions with China constantly past couple of years now. So definitely there may be some escalation in that situation for a lot of people, for a lot of nations. Since we have border tensions, I believe Taiwan is having border tensions with China. So we have the North Korea and South Korea border tensions. We have definitely border tensions of US and China in the somewhere in the adjacent seas. So saying that, so border tensions across already tense countries. Disturbances in alliance of nations and governments, or basically allies, you can say. So definitely there may be some disturbances and trouble in the existing alliance of present alliances of the nations and present alliances of the government. But the special thing that is happening here is that all of these events will be very sudden in nature. The development of escalation, the development of these events taking place would be very sudden because of the nature of the North Node being present along, being present in the Aries chart itself. And as we know that the Mars, the lordship of the lord of this sign, is again conjunct Saturn. And that too in the Lunar Mansion, Shatbisha, and Saturn being in Dhanishta. I mean, they have their own references with their deities and everything. So the theme, I mean, the events would be sudden during this, around this eclipse. Events would be sudden. So financial or economic collapse in some country is possible, but aid, help, and intervention by external powers as saviors will be playing a major role as well. So there may be some other nations coming to, kind of sort it out, intervene, or maybe give support to nations having these kind of troubles would be also seen. So alliance is not completely wiped out. It is still going to be there. Since we have the North Node and the South Node in Aries and Libra, the Rahu and Ketu in Libra, here we have the Rahu and here we have the Ketu in Libra. So no major changes in roles of the present government. Now, this is something important here. If there are elections, the present government rules as earlier, although heavy opposition may be seen from opponents. That is something which is to be seen. So existing ruling parties or existing ruling governments will have the upper hand. Since it is a partnership axis as well, we may see alliances dissolving, often between nations and governments. Demise or demise-like situation for a major spiritual, well-known dignitary is also possible, because we have, many may think why I'm talking about demise or demise-like situation for a major spiritual or well-known dignitary, somebody who is spiritual in nature or something like that. We have the Venus-Jupiter conjunction in Pisces. Now, this is not just the Pisces thing which I am using. It is again backed up by the SBC chart and the lunar mansions. So I'm not getting into the detail of that. So because the constellation represented by this conjunction of Venus and Jupiter, as you can see, it is the same constellation UBH, which is Uttar Bhadravad constellation, which is the symbology of this constellation is a funeral cot. So definitely some event related to that. Syllables which are important is PA, DA, da, PA, pa, SHA, sa, AI, and JA. So these syllables become of importance here. So any person by these names may get influenced. Also, there may be sudden rush of separation among couples and disturbances in marital harmony to be seen quite often. Specifically, now all these predictions for the solar eclipse which I have given, syllables which are important are U, A, Ta, ta, L, Ri, Lri, SHA. I believe I mentioned the SHA previously as well. AI, which was mentioned previously as well, and JA, Ja, AI, AI, we would spell it I, and JA, Ja. So these syllables become of great importance for the cities, for the countries, for the persons, having these syllables starting for their names. Now we have the lunar eclipse of 16th May 2022 at 5:14 hours New Delhi. Now we have something specific. Now we have moon conjunct Ketu, but as you can see that sun has just moved ahead. Sun has just moved ahead 0 degree. It's kind of again a situation very exclusive to this lunar eclipse. But again, we have the same conjunction Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter, Venus in the 12th house, and Saturn, Mars conjunction in the 11th house in Aquarius. So possibility of flooding due to heavy rains now come down to the month of May and June, 45 days prior and 45 days later to this. We have possibility of floodings due to heavy rains in urban cities, especially urban cities. And if the city is definitely coastal, then it may be an alarming situation. Voices to save traditions or heritage may be suppressed. So any nation may be struggling to keep some heritage, or maybe there is a specific group of people trying to save some heritage, or maybe something like that, some tradition or anything. So the opposing party or the opposing factor or the people or the nation may try to suppress that kind of a thing. Existing government may try to suppress the voice of opposition. Females may play major role in political and media news by May and June end. That is what I could see. Now we have the retrograding planets as well, but I am not considering those as far as now for the month of June, but I'll bring that up a little later. So yes, women would play a major role in political and media news by May and June end. Possibility of some push back to women community by a particular government. Possibility of some pushback to women community, female community by a particular government, or news of women oppression, sorry, or news related to female oppression may be there in the talks during this time. But later there will be pushback from the feminine community as well in regards to whatever may be taking place earlier. So in accordance to these particular things, the important syllables become A, the alphabets which are of importance become A, U, AU, TA, ta, LRA, ra, RI, re, and O as in ox. Okay. So the month of July would be more about natural troubles related to air, fire, and land. Again, we have this conjunction. This conjunction is a very particular conjunction, kind of, again, it is the Saturn is aspecting the ascendant. We have Saturn aspecting the ascendant, where we have the North Node. And even in the previous eclipse, we had Saturn aspecting the ascendant, where we had Sun, Mercury, and the North Node conjunct. So month of July would be more about natural troubles related to air, fire, and land, or maybe something to air to land, or maybe something fire on land, something like that. So people living on hills and hilly regions are of concern during this period, specifically. So the month of July. So people living on hills or hilly regions are of concern here. July end to August. So from July end to August, two nations may be there may be loggerheads may stop communicating to each other because of some growing tensions among themselves. August, the month of home disturbances. Why I have written it as home disturbances is there may be career disruptions for a lot of people during this period. You may see a lot of disturbances, somebody may lose a job or maybe something or the other. So this period is for career disturbances and disturbances at home front. So definitely astrologers and psychologists around the world would get to see a lot of consultations regarding home issues and career disruptions, because we will be having a retrograde Saturn and Jupiter in the month of August itself. So these combined with all these factors that we are looking here, moving on in the month of August, we will have a retrograde Saturn and a retrograde Jupiter ahead. August end may see new government formation. Important syllables for August end are MA and KHA again. MA, Ma, and KHA. So this is the story for August. Let's move ahead with more eclipses. Okay, now we have a solar eclipse again on the 25th of October 2022, 16:18 hours, New Delhi. Now we have the conjunction. As you can see, we have Moon, Sun conjunct Moon, we have Venus conjunct, as well as we have the South Node, the Ketu conjunct, and all these together. If you look at the Indian North Indian chart, the square chart, we all have all these in the same constellation, Swati. All these are in the same constellation, Swati, and the advanced level of using these constellations is that Swati is ruled by the North Node, and the North Node Rahu. So it's like a relationship of a 1-7 axis. It's continuously, kind of aligning up again and again, but not in a very balancing way. It's a conflicting way. And with all the other aspects. So mistakes of governments. Now here is the important part of what has been happening around the year. We may see a lot of protests. We may see a lot of oppression and suppression of government by using the police, the law, the judiciary. They'll try to use the upper hand as much as possible. But now here is a twist going down. Definitely now this 25 October, we are taking again 45 days prior and later to it. So a lot of development may be there by somewhere around in the month of September as well. Mistakes of government may surface for this October thing. Because Mercury, yes, okay. The special thing is that we have this eclipse taking place on the 25th of October, but post 2 days ahead, on the 27th of October, Mercury, which is almost 28 degrees, we can see it's 28 degrees, 29 minutes. This would be joining this conjunction itself. So it's not just these 4 planets. Mercury will be also joining this conjunction. So it is going to make this even more important. Just 2 days after the eclipse, but moon will be moon, since it is 7 degrees, so it will still be there 1.5 days ahead on the 27th, because this is 25th we are considering. So on the 27th, Mercury will conjoin this. So this makes it very, very, very important. The mistakes of government may surface during this period. Again, major air to land related. Now in this, not water, but air to land related events may be seen. Dethroning of a dignitary or dethroning of a government is possible. Politically around world, many new alliances and break of old ones may be seen. In all this, women may play a major role, or we may see many new fresh female faces in politics rising ahead. With air playing a major role around this eclipse, the present pandemic may result in some repercussion, or there may be news of another wave coming ahead, something like that. Around the month of repercussion, the pandemic may result in some repercussion around September, October, or November. So these 3 months become crucial there. Unscrupulous elements, unsocial elements may get success in anti-social activities during this period. Astrologers and courts, the judiciary courts, may see sudden increase in cases related to separation among couples. Many cases of suspicion among couples may be on the brink as well. Probability of hearing that a high level couple or celebrity couple is going through relationship disturbances maybe in the news as well during this period. Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo ascendant people, definitely I'm talking about the sidereal charts, not the tropical ones. So Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo ascendant, and moon, if they have a Gemini, Cancer, Leo, or Virgo moon, these people may get affected hugely by this particular eclipse. So make sure of it if anybody has these ascendant rising or moon rising in their charts. So need to be double cautious for this. Now we have the lunar eclipse on 8th of November 2022, 11:37 hours, New Delhi. Now we have almost the same situation here. We have now the moon has we have the moon conjunct the north node Rahu, conjunct Uranus, which is again retrograde here. Jupiter is now, this chart becomes quite special here. We have Jupiter retrograde. We have few things happening in the 7th house in Libra sign as well. So what is changing here is the situation of the lunar mansions, and the lunar mansions have changed from Swati to Vishakha here. So government may use police or army to control the opposition or suppress the public during this period as well, because a lot of public voice will be definitely rising during this period. Lag or lack of victory for opposition, lag of victory for opposition in places where elections are being conducted. But at some fronts, opposition may have some delayed partial victory. They may, get some chunk of the victory, not the entire victory. Public protests for government decisions, which may damage government. So the government may have taken some decisions prior to this or during this period, due to which public will protest against it, and this may damage that particular government in the long run. Yearning for individuality among political party members. So specifically now, political party members, yearning for individuality among political party members, and possibility of asking for division of their powers, or division of a country, division of a state, or themselves as separate entity will be seen during this particular phase of around the eclipse in November. Now, lastly, I believe, what do we have? Now we have the retrogressions and combustions. So according to the Vedic astrology, we consider the retrogressions and combustions to be of great importance as well, because every individual retrogression and combustion also has their own impact depending upon the planet and in which zodiac sign it is getting into that kind of a particular position. Although we also consider occultations, and we also consider the declinations as well to have specific impacts, but because of too much intricacy and a little lack of time, I was not able to work upon the declinations and the occultations of the planets, but I worked upon retrogradations and combustions. So we have the planet here, the retrograde and direct duration, and the combustion for setting and rising of the planet. So Mars, we have Mars, we have Mercury, we have Jupiter, and we have Venus, and eventually Saturn. So these are the durations. I kind of tabulated all of them here in one single chart, so it becomes easier to get back to it anytime soon. So okay, what is important here is that we have Saturn retrogression in the month of June and up till October. So we are just going, what I did was I tried to find the moment when there are maximum planets are retrograde. So that is something I was trying to find about. So we have 3 planets in retrogression in the month of September and October. We have Saturn, Jupiter, and as well as Mercury. As you can see, it starts to retrograde on September 10th and up till October 2nd. So we have 3 planets which are retrograde in September and October, that is Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury. They show some storming conflict among intellectuals. So there may be some conflict among intellectuals, disturbance among appointed faculty or a person of higher post or status from institutions, universities, schools, colleges, or spiritual sects may be seen. So somebody who is the head of a spiritual sect or somebody like that, or maybe an institution or a university. So definitely some disturbances among the appointed faculty or an individual person, which may be quite highlighted at this point of time. There may be disturbance due to acquirement of higher position by one of the members. So that may become the cause of that entire kind of disturbance. Initiation of previous suppressed protest. So there may be initiation of a previous suppressed protest may take place against the government, but this time many intellectuals and influencers may join the protest who were not a part of that protest earlier. So many influencers may join the protest as well who were not previously involved in that particular opposition. So all in all, this retrogression phase, which will be of Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury around the month of September to October, bringing down Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn in retrogression. And the beauty of this retrogression is that Mercury will be in its own sign Virgo, Jupiter will be in its own sign Pisces, and Saturn will be in its own sign Capricorn. So all of these planets, especially in their own signs, being retrograde and kind of having that so much of power in their own position. So everybody is like everybody on their own fronts would be very strong. The opposition, if there is an opposition, it would be strong. If there is a protest, it's going to be strong. So all the voices at this point of time are going to be very strong. The influence of this period will be of great consideration. So this phase would be, considering the lunar mansions, specifically the constellations here, this phase would be of powers joining their hands. Especially the retrogression phase of the September month, we may see that this phase will be of people or powers of various diversities kind of joining their hands together, and maybe against maybe a government or a specific community or specific something, all in all together. So these are all the specific major charts which I have considered for this presentation. But as I just mentioned, specifically for what is about to happen for one individual country has to be derived from the specific chart of that specific nation. So it is an exhaustive work. It is not a work for an individual to cover the entire planet. But this is something which is as a highlight. But if any nation like if there is a coastal city which needs consideration during the specific mentioned period, then for that specific coastal city, definitely a chart can be casted and worked upon if there is any danger to that specific place. So this is how it kind of works, and I believe I kind of concluded this session.
Thank you very much. That was really, really interesting. An awful lot to take in. I'm glad it's been recorded, because I think I'd like to listen to it again just to get a full handle on everything. But it's quite intriguing, and I found the syllables that you used, the alphabet and the syllables, quite interesting, because I could obviously, I'm sure everybody could think of quite a few places that, or names of people who might be affected by these. So yes, has anybody got? Sorry, carry on.
Well, I was quite taken back because, as I just mentioned, even during the presentation, when I was mentioning the Capricorn theme, I wrote down the syllables and I was, engrossed with the charts and everything. I was not too much into what is happening around the world, because I try to avoid, before I start to work upon the year predictions or mundane events, I avoid listening to the news, because then it kind of gives you a notion. Okay, now now something is happening in that specific country. Let's say something is happening specific in Australia. So now I shall work upon that. So I don't incline my mind. I don't bind my mind to working in that direction. I work very independently, kind of not being biased by the news. But once I have completed the work, then I go back to the news, what is actually happening there. And I was, myself kind of astonished that I have written the Ma and Kha syllables, and something related to Kazakhstan, and it's something, some trouble from Russia was there in Kazakhstan, or something maybe related countries. So I was, kind of held back. Okay, how the SBC chart and the syllable things work.
Mm.
So, yeah, they work. Many a times they work, and they work really beautifully.
Have you got any? I know you mentioned the pandemic towards the end, so you obviously think it's still going to be quite a feature this year.
I see. First of all, when it broke down actually in 2019 in the month of December, it was supposed to be fatal for the next 2 years or 2.5 years, if specifically speaking. Now, since we are seeing Saturn in the fall of Capricorn, now this theme is not strictly bound to Capricorn, because we will be seeing the transit of Saturn to Aquarius moving ahead into another sign, and Jupiter moving further away from it in the upcoming months. Because in April it will be transiting to Pisces, and eventually by next year it will move on to Aries. Now, once it enter Aries, we will see, even now, I mean, if you talk about the Omicron in India, everybody is considering it as just another 2-day, 3-day flu, nothing beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, the life is just as normal, only for not normal for only the people who have seen the previous repercussion, and they may have got admitted, so they have their own apprehensions and fears, which is definitely understandable. But otherwise, the common man is not considering this. And in fact, I mean, I have heard at least 15, 20 members, my friends and family, kind of getting down with the virus within past 10, 15 days. But almost everybody of them has, kind of recovered within 3 to 4 days or so, and they have not needed they never need any medical facility or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's similar here.
Sorry. Question kind of remained there. So since the Saturn will be transiting Aquarius somewhere after its retrogression around the month of November, I believe. So once it enters Aquarius, we will be seeing the pandemic in its fall. But since, okay, now this happened in 2019, and I did a lot of research in 2020. It's on my YouTube channel. So what I did was, I worked upon I took planetary data for 5,000 years. I took data of 25 major epidemics or pandemics. I worked upon the cyclic effect of these pandemics, how they start and when they end. So I have this video. It's quite a long video, maybe 60 minutes or maybe something like that. So I have given the clue as to what specific planets and which specific lunar mansions which lunar mansions kind of trigger these pandemics. As I have not worked upon so exhaustively for the upcoming years, but something again in the we have that kind of conjunction around 2028 or 29, 6 years ahead, 6-7 years ahead. So although I am saying I have not worked upon it, I am not sure about it, but there is some possibility, and I need to check it. I need to work upon it. There is some possibility that we may see another kind of mild, not as strong as what has happened previously. We may see another mild outbreak, but like we had 4 or 5 years back, we had an outbreak of chikungunya, or we have an outbreak of dengue or other kind of things. So these things are, and otherwise, if you look at it, we have a cyclic thing of, another kind of hearing about new disease every 9 years. We have that kind of a cycle. If you go back to that video, so maybe I can, maybe at the end of the talk, I'll share that link in the chat. So that's that. So we will see the fall of this pandemic once Saturn enters Aquarius, according to the sidereal thing, and which is definitely by the year end. So many people were asking, will we go into lockdown in New Delhi itself? Because a lot of business persons were concerned, because economy has taken its toll during previous lockdown. So the good thing is that I am God saves my name every time. I told them I don't think we will be seeing any lockdowns, but we may see some restrictions, but not the lockdowns. And there has been no lockdowns so far.
Well, that's good to hear. Yes. Has anybody got any questions? Because please unmute yourself if you want to ask anything.
I just wanted to ask, what is the positive theme of 2022?
Positive theme of 2022. Okay, as I just mentioned, there may be a major role play for women. The creativity, the success for women will be higher than men. Either they're working either in careers or all these years. So we will see a lot of major role play of women on political front, and otherwise as well. We will see major role of that, and by the year end, somewhere around September, October, we will see that the real things about the government. So government may, every government has their own agenda. They really don't care about the people, what happens to the common man. So that may be, kind of surfacing up during that period. We may actually see what is the real condition here now. And definitely, a lot of among us are consultants and astrologers and all people who are into consultancy services, like psychologists, etc. They will be seeing a lot of clients this year, and especially with the collapse of, people having troubles in their, specifically couples having trouble in the relationship.
Thank you.
That is something here, but definitely women power, women empowerment, and new faces, new rising faces will be seen. That is the positive thing. Otherwise, this is a very generic kind of a thing which I have mentioned here. It's more important about the cautions, not about. I know that most of these predictions were kind of about atrocities happening. But what is considerable is the rain check, when it's going to rain, hail Mary and storm. So that is more important rather than having me forecasting a pleasant sunny day. So I believe that was the whole purpose.
You ask the Vedic astrologer for a positive review. They tell the truth, don't they? So no, I was just going to say, so you said astrologers may be seeing a lot more people this year.
Sorry, come again?
You say astrologers may be seeing a lot more clients this year, or is that only female astrologers?
Or practicing astrologers will definitely get more cases related to, the disturbance.
Relationships.
Yeah, because the North Node and the South Node is, on the 1-7 axis. So, and that Libra and Aries, it's a natural relationship axis. So even relationships, and another thing, even business partnerships. That's why many times I have mentioned this, that government, what do you call that? The word slipped out of my mind. So basically alliances among government. Maybe, we may see a lot of people falling down from one party to another. So that may also be the thing there.
Where's Boris going? It's got to go sometime.
There's Jan Sigworth has put a hand up. Would you like to ask a question, Jan?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I can't see anyone. I can see you, but I can't get my thing working. I'd like to know, please, how do you determine which sounds are important? That's fascinating me. Is it based on numerology? How do you do this? How do we find out about it?
How do I find about which signs or which syllables?
The sounds.
The sounds. Okay, as I just mentioned, these sounds are related to lunar mansions. Every lunar mansion has a particular syllable attached to it. And then when we go deeper into another ancient technique, the SBC chart, it also gives us syllables.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other?
Andrew, have you been putting questions up on the chat? Would you like to ask something?
Those, I'm really good.
You need to unmute yourself.
The Sidereal constellation. I'm also looking at Dasha. Andrew mentioned I'm also looking at Dashas. I'm curious how you calculate them. Time period interests me. See, Dashas are calculated according to the lunar mansion of the moon. But although we have many other types of dashas as well, but we specifically consider the Vimshottari dasha system, which is calculated on the basis of the constellation of the moon. We are not considering the dashas for these specific charts because these are eclipse charts generally. but we will consider dashas when we consider the chart of a country or a nation or a city specifically. So that is to consider the dashas. Dashas are basically time events in an individual's life. You can time an event very easily in an individual's life if you are doing a natal chart. So dashas, I would say, rather to stick to dashas only when you are using a natal chart or a horary chart. Can already say it feels like a Saturn year around here. And even if you look at even at the present stage, if you look at it, we have not got out of our previous struggles from the past. So it is regardless. Even move the 12 zodiacs out, forget everything about astrology. Even if we look at the previous things, how our lives are being carried from 2020 to 21 and eventually into 22, we are not off the struggles of the past.
I can agree with that.
So
it totally agrees with that. Yeah,
definitely Saturnine effect. It is definitely Saturnine, because Saturn is an effect which is definitely connected to your past and previous, and it is the burden, it is the baggage which you are still carrying on, holding on. You're not able to let it go. Either way you want to let it go, but you can't let it go. So definitely it's a Saturnine year, Anton.
Thank you.
The day is the minister. I wonder if this is the tropical calendar, Andrew. No, it is the. Yes. It is the tropical calendar. Yes. It aligns with the tropical calendar. You asked about that. Yes, it is. In Vedic, are the houses seen more like the signs? Yes, it is a whole house, whole sign system. But we also have, different charts where we have shifting signs, we have interceptive signs. The Krishnamurthi Padatti, which I mentioned earlier, is a different realm of Vedic astrology, and it deals with intercepting signs as well. So we work with very many different kind of charts as well. It's not just whole house, whole sign system, which is quite common to hear about, that Vedic is about whole sign. No, we refer to many other charts as well. We refer to the cusp charts as well, the cuspal charts as well. In Vedic, are the houses in... Okay. Yeah. And I believe these are all the questions I can see. So it kind of concludes it all. So anything else that you would like me to, you'd like to ask me, please feel free.
So I was going to speak there. You answered my questions quite well, and I didn't realise that with all the different charts, that the different charts were linked to the positions of the houses or the signs. The pennies just dropped. That's the case. So that's really interesting. I was just curious about, you mentioned the ruler of the day being tropical. I'm really struggling at the moment trying to look at constellational, sidereal, and trying to piece it all together, because you always try and keep the integrity of one system, don't you? And when you do the rulerships, or using a Western style, and then I switch it to sidereal or constellational, it's trying to work out where that energy fits, and that's a really difficult place I am, because you have to a certain extent keep the integrity of the system you're in, don't you? So interesting one.
Yes, it is. But so far, so the days, the lunar days, the Vedic days, the Hindu chart calendar days, and the tropical days are same. So there is not much of a difference there. So anything else?
Yes. Hello. Yeah, a few questions if possible.
Yes, of course.
I don't know how relevant it is in your interpretations, but a lot of the charts were carrying Rahu and Ketu square to Saturn throughout the year, and whether that was a theme that emphasized your Saturn year, and whether you wanted to speak some more about that particular configuration.
Yes, of course. Saturn is square the north node and the south node most of the time, and this makes it even more. Now we will have again to go to, if you're talking about depth of Vedic, then we have to go to the lunar mansions. Lunar mansions may totally kind of change the scenario. But if we look at the surface on the top of it, it seems to be more abrupt and suddenness, I would say. there will be mystery around things, and there will be suddenness around the events happening. If you consider the square thing, Saturn square, Rahu, the north node, and the south node. So that is the main thing that from the surface I would pick this up. But when I go into the depth of it by using lunar mentions, then I can actually, kind of pinpoint which would be different at every, it could be different for different months during this year. So the actual events may, kind of vary a little bit.
Thank you. Just some queries then about the lunar mansions. I suppose the technical questions. Does the SBC chart do 28 lunar mansions, and does KP and Vedic do 27? Is that one of the distinctions between them?
Yes, the SBC chart uses 28 lunar mansions. The 28th lunar, although we see what is happening is now it is in alliance to the what we call as the axial tilt of.
Yes.
So we know that the axial tilt has a cycle of 23 or 24,000 years approximately, getting aligned to the Polaris again after a cycle of 23,000 years or so, if I am correct, because I'm not an astronomy guy too much. But since because of this axial tilt and the cycling of this Earth for that 23,000 year cycle, this we have the 28th lunar mansion, which is kind of suppressed, or it's how shall I explain it? Because of the inclination of Earth, we are not. It's moved beyond the ecliptic. It's moved a little further to up north, and we are not able to have an entire view of that constellation beyond the ecliptic. That is the reason we are not considering that particular 28th lunar mansion, or in literal terms, when we just literally want to kind of explain it, we simply say that the 28th lunar mansion has shrunk, although it is there in the Aquarius sign. It is already there, but the duration of that lunar mansion, because of the variation in the tilt of Earth, has resulted into kind of shrinkage of that. The duration has shrunk for that mansion. So we have the 27 lunar mansion, which we are considering.
Thank you. The second query I've got.
What are the?
Go on, Anton.
Oh, sorry. Could you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear. Yeah, sorry. The second query I've got is that you're using SBC and Vedic.
Yes.
You say you also use KP as well. I was just wondering where you would use KP. I'm aware that they use Placidus and the Ionasm is about 6 minutes difference. But is that something you avoid for mundane work, using KP compared to SBC and traditional Vedic?
It can be used in mundane events only when we are doing individual charts for nations.
Fine. So you avoid KP for doing that.
I won't consider a KP chart for eclipses. Definitely not eclipses. But when I'm considering a natal chart or a chart of a nation or a chart for a specific city, then we may consider the KP chart as well.
Thank you.
Any other question?
It's a lot of the Saturn influence that we're under. Especially as you said, it was squaring the nodes. I mean, is this a karmic, a global karmic influence that's come in that needs to be cleared away before we can move forward?
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there the square thing? I already noted that I was sure of that this question will definitely surface up somewhere during my presentation. That Saturn is most of the time it's kind of a square to the north node here. So what will be the result? So on the surface, I would simply say a lot of mysticism, a lot of smoke, a lot of things may not get cleared up on the surface. That is what I would say. A lot of 10 times more energy may be needed to actually come to the resolution of or come to the real picture of anything. So that is on the surface here. But when we go down deep down to the lunar mansions, during the months when the mansions are being when the planets transit different mansions, so things may definitely evolve to something else. As I mentioned, I mean, many a times, even during eclipses, that the mansions are changing from solar eclipse to lunar eclipse. We have the mansions changing, and the results are totally different. So that's how we will consider it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Would you say the lunar or the solar eclipse will have more effect on the events?
Okay. See, it's my own perception. I consider solar eclipse more relevant to the government and policies related to government, any influence related to the government. But when we have a lunar eclipse, I consider it more related to the community, the people, the individual, the psyche of an individual. That is how I would consider it. But I mean, in totality, they have their own. They have their own individual effects as well.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah. Any more questions? Are we all trying to absorb it and take it in? And we definitely need the recording, Raina, so that we can. You need to post that for us, so we can go over this again and yes, take it in properly, absorb it. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if there aren't any more questions, I think it's just time to say thank you very much to Gaurav. And I don't know what time it is in New Delhi. Is it really late?
It's almost 2:30 in the morning a.m.
Oh,
Yes.
we better let you go.
We really appreciate this then, that you've stayed up to do this talk for us, and it's been fascinating. Thank you to Anna Maria as well for recommending Gaurav. And yes, and thank you everybody for joining and for your participation. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gaurav.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody who has kind of got this torture from me, listening to me. I appreciate you providing me time and this opportunity to listen to what I. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Definitely going back to
Nice
this
meeting
recording.
you. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. I'll pause the recording as soon as in the morning.
Thank you, Raina.
Yeah. So.
Thank you, Maria.